Mm-hmm.
but I think that they'd also, those ones that only have a hole in them,
Mm-hmm.
like they're completely encapsulated.
Yes, I've seen.
They don't seem to be on top of high ground. Okay, they're not
Uh-huh.
the ones on the bedrock. They're the ones somewhere down the slope from the bedrock. Okay,
Yes.
and imagine the storm is so dangerous now that you're willing to sacrifice all your animals. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because this is what you have. I mean, if you're moving from place to place, you're probably moving with a herd. Okay, but you're now saying, I'm willing to squeeze in this hole with my family and
Yeah.
everyone that can get in here, so that we now have a Faraday cage around us,
Right.
and all these animals, we just have to say they're going to fucking die. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have sworn. I apologize,
Oh no, that's okay.
but I mean, I just picture how dangerous that would be. Where
Yes, I
because
know.
as you know, lightning can kill a herd of caribou, just like boom,
They do. Yep.
and the larger the animal, interestingly enough, the worse this effect is.
Mm-hmm.
It's called step voltage. Um, it's something that, well, do you ever hear about the idea of jumping out of a car with both feet if it had something on it like a live power cable?
No.
Well, you don't step out of the car. You don't want to create a current pathway. Well, in a lightning strike, it raises the voltage or it raises the charge of a particular area, and
Mm-hmm.
that charge dissipates along a curve. And if there is a sufficient voltage between the front of the animal and the rear of the animal, the legs,
I see.
it creates a secondary current through the animal, which kills it.
I see.
So it's much harder for a human being to die because we stand up.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we could get hit, okay. Um, don't get me wrong, but we're not creating unless we have a step going. Like if we have a complete step between us. That's why if a lightning hits on an area, it's only those people who have their legs spread apart that are going to die in that instant when it happens. It's not, it's not a sure thing either. Of course, like someone could get hit right in the head. Like,
Yeah.
you know, life sucks. But generally speaking, and I picture this is what these things were for, and I base this on the de- decaying instances of electrical phenomenon in our atmosphere as time has gone on,
Yeah.
such as St. Elmo's fire or uh, uh, electric fog,
Mm-hmm.
other things like that. That basically the lightning is just not as powerful as it once was.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's a powerful lightning bolt, and yes, it scares the dog. Yes, this is scary. Yes, we admit this, but it's not. We have to seek cover now. Like it's huff puff, blow your house down type lightning.
Yeah.
Like, and these people, we gotta understand. Uh, we're living in well, like these people were not living in the same places as they were um, like in Egypt or something, or Babylon, where they had walls and everything to protect them. Now they're just living in wandering with their herds and
Mm-hmm.
farming and so forth all over Europe, um, which and these people were still able to erect these things, knowing full well of their use.
Yeah, I was just noticing there's a dolmen in Minga in Spain, and it's the largest known dolmen found. And a 19th century archaeologist found skeletons of several hundred people inside.
See,
It's pretty huge. Yeah,
well, yeah,
that's
but
good.
dolmens are often considered to be the entire pile of rocks that were on top of these rocks.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and I don't buy that. I think that they were covered over later because they were holy sites,
Yes.
just like Göbekli Tepe was covered over.
Right.
They went like this and turned into a shrine, like a pyramid,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like a holy place where they could go bury their dead,
Yeah.
because it was very important to them. I mean, what if you think about it in terms like this, um, a place where a murder was committed long, long ago is still a haunted place by the locals.
Yeah.
Years later. And the same goes for holy places, even though they have no real reason why they were holy. Some are because they were depictions of the god in the sky, like from Stonehenge all the way to that beautiful mound in Ireland, the Grange Mound, the one that looks
Yes.
like. Anyway, I can't. But that's also a depiction, but a different type of depiction from a different era, much closer to like the ring around Osiris, with the snake. Closer to that, maybe from a different time period, but still closely related. But when I see that type of work, it's no doubt to me that these people kept trying to get there, like to head to this thing in the sky. I could see it being very well. A lot of them didn't come back. I mean, you can get to Greenland, and then, but eventually you're going to be underneath this thing, and it's eating the high mountains around you.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to die.
Yeah.
If you keep playing this game, eventually you're going to get hit with something, right?
Yeah.
And there's evidence that they did. They went all the prehistoric man went all the way to like the northern tip of Greenland, trying to get to this thing. But it's like they were trying to walk to another world.
Right.
The illusion that we could walk off the world is because of the edge of the world is because of the rings idea. We were seeing them. I mean, almost everybody that we consider to be ancient history was seeing them from the point of view of the Northern Hemisphere. So it was like looking down at rivers. If you look too far to the north, you were going to have a stairway or river to the sky going up the North Pole, or a pyramid to the sky. Like, I think that now that to me that's the peaceful time. And if that's the peaceful time that actually existed, then that's when they had the best chance of developing an actual worldwide culture at that point. The more that you look, the more that it looks like there is a surprising amount of evidence for this. Like, not just in the giant stones, because I mean, we could say that the primitive people, even they could use a saw or whatever. Let's berate them and even say that. But some of the stuff that they managed to pull off, besides their obvious, astronomy and stuff like that, and mathematics, was how some of the structures look like they were built to take electrical forces into consideration. Like, why else would you put all these metal clamps to connect every single stone together? I mean, you're pouring liquid metal to connect rocks together electrically, because there's no other reason. I mean, you could just basically put a divot of stone and create the same effect, right? To lock the same thing into place, but they didn't. They used metal. And they were trying to make sure that every single block was connected to every other block, which means that if you had one of these around your city would never get hit in the middle. It would always get hit around the edge, because it'd be a Faraday cage.
Yes, I see them. Yes.
Yeah, they would use the world over. Like, everywhere from Egypt, everywhere use those metal clamps.
Bolivia, Japan, Egypt, Greece, Tunisia, Italy. I see that.
I think that's
very good.
And that's a solution to a problem we don't have anymore. You see what I mean? And so that tells me that they were building for severe electrical events, like just basically like nothing more than giant thunderstorms. Okay, but I mean, they must have been, the kind that you would picture, like in some movie somewhere, the lightning bolt comes down and blows a tower up,
Yeah.
or something. And you're like, my God, but let's be fair. The last two that I know of are from Rome, the most recent ones. There's the story of, there's a lake north of Rome, and it was the main Etruscan city. And there was a 5-mile wide lightning bolt that came down from the heavens and destroyed that entire city.
Wow.
That's what the Romans say. I'll leave it. I don't know if they're lying. Although there is one more interesting account from the city of Portus, which Portus is Rome's port. It's literally where we get the name port from. But anyway, it's a ship fully laden was setting out across the sea, and it got hit with a lightning bolt from the blue and exploded.
Yes.
Just one, a bolt from the blue. So that was like no clouds in the sky, just boom. So that's how bothersome this must have been even then. And that was just 2,200 years ago or something. So I think if we keep going back in time, that these were worse and worse and worse. This is after the time of relative peace. Not that the pyramids were built at that time, because we know that they used smaller stones and may have used concrete and a few other things, and reused some stones inside the pyramid as well, and used some heavy gearing systems to seem to get these stones into place. So they obviously seem to be struggling, if you know what I mean. They're intelligent, working hard. I'm not pissing on their cornflakes here. I'm just saying that they certainly are not the same people that built the Assyrian.
Right.
Which is pink granite and cut, with giant saws, and beautiful. So it's clear that the Egyptians had a flaw, and one of their flaws was they worshipped the divine electricity, I think. They called it the divine waters above, or whatever you called it. Because, the aurora would have been seen day and night some places probably. It looks like, and if you've ever seen the aurora, it's the green kind. Looks like water.
Yes.
So they used to say, well, they still say the upper and lower Egypt, but no, they mean Egypt was on the ground and the waters above were literally the waters in the sky. And it seems so painfully obvious sometimes when you think about it now.
Yes, but they still don't get it. Mainstream, they just don't get it.
Well, you can't blame them. I mean, if I was them, I wouldn't believe me either. I mean, I would like to think of myself as being more open. I would like to think, and I would like to think that if I had Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye the Science Guy in front of me, and we were just having beers at a bar, that we could talk through this, and I would make him walk out of the room going, you know what, I'm going to look into this. That's some very interesting points you made. And that's what I would like to think that they would think like.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they realize that I'm not one of the things that would shut them down immediately, which would be a Bible thumper or a flat earther or something,
Yes, I just don't understand why mainstream cannot even say the word electricity, it seems. Although they are getting better. They're taking baby steps.
Yes, but clearly not fast enough. They're going to end up, in my opinion, they're going to end up killing a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to rethink this whole Mars thing, because that's going to be that's a real test of your theories.
For sure.
And you're putting it all on the line now. All of your ideas, all of your money, everything, people's lives. Will they make it? Will they grow food, and will that food actually be edible to them? Will it look like the same food as grows on Earth? Will a baby growing in a different electrical environment, which we know that the electrical pressures have a lot to do with the growth of the actual body of anything that grows in it. It could be horrifying even. I don't even want to think that, though. Like stillbirths and so forth and other things like that. Not that I want to think of it that way, but it could be a very bad situation for them.
Well, my opinion is that mostly in the medical field, I think there should be more treatments for people on an electric basis, since it's electricity that holds our cells up, and our bodies are electric. Disease could be something from
Technically, everything's electric.
Yes, and I heard that pathogens can't exist in a pH balanced environment. So positive would be acidic, negative would be pH.
No, it's reversed. Negative is acidic, positive is.
Negative ions from the Earth are good for you. Negative electrons, that's negative, right?
Well, see, it all depends on how you get them. A negative ion is just an electron, and but an acid is like battery acid is like something that has a pH of like 0.5. Water is 7.
Yeah, our bodies are 7.4 pH.
Yeah, just a little bit alkaline. Yeah, ideally. And now I heard about the disease thing. I think that might be probably something from the Andromeda strain. But
no, Rife. You know Rife?
I do know Rife, yeah.
He was treating cancer with what do you call it? Ultrasound or something like that. And it was 100,000 hertz was killing cancer cells. He took 30 people in stage 4. You heard that story, right?
No.
He took 30 people in stage 4 that were hopeless and cured them. And for his troubles, he got thrown in a madhouse.
See, I mean, blowing up. I mean, we use that exact technique to treat gallbladder stones and stuff like that. Kidney stones.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how we get rid of it nowadays, by using ultrasound and resonating it till it explodes.
Yeah, the Rife machine was doing that. 100 to 300 hertz. That's pretty high.
No, it's 100 to 300 hertz is pretty low.
I mean, 100,000 hertz.
Oh, no, that is pretty high.
Yeah.
That's just on the other side, just on this side of infrared.
Yeah, you know that guy, that Bosnian pyramid guy, he was the one who was talking about the Rife machine. And he said that actually
I wrote
viruses,
to him actually once. Sam.
Oh, you did? He said viruses are shaped like a pyramid.
Some of them.
Yeah. And he was talking about the Rife and how you.
It's also a question about whether or not viruses are even from here.
Yes, they could very well. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Tom Van Flandern had a theory that came from outer space. Velikovsky was on that too.
Yeah, same with the late Sir Fred Hoyle.
Yes.
And Spermia, his idea that dangerous flues came by every time, especially when 45 days after a conjunction between Venus, a new moon, and the Earth. I thought that was very interesting.
It is, indeed.
I wonder if, I guess we can't really judge now, because with the artificialness of COVID strains, or the original COVID strain, probably.
It's funny, the COVID virus resembles a star to me.
It is. It's all coronaviruses, actually. The only difference of a coronavirus, I think, is its feet. The little feet on it look different. They're all a big ball.
Yes. Yep.
And they're almost all respiratory, I think.
Yes. Yep. They are like SARS. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm not really an expert on that for sure. But
No, me neither.
I'm very interested in times when it's said that horrifying things came from the stars, like after comets and stuff. That seems to be another thing that might have been a worse thing in the past too. Well, of course, we've heard the story. I mean, in fact, literally, the word disaster, if you break it down, is literally the word bad or dis, and aster, which means star.
Yep. Yep.
So it's just a
bad star.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a disaster is a bad star. So that's how bad comets were to them. And imagine what that must have been like some of those things coming down. They would explode at a distance, but still, it wouldn't be unlike a nuclear bomb in some cases. I mean, just look at Tunguska. I mean,
yes. Wall has a pretty good theory on Tunguska that it was taken out by a thunderbolt.
I agree.
Yeah.
In fact, I did a presentation on electric geology. I have it on the Electric View. You find their specials there, and it's the Electric Geology Toolkit. One of the things I talked about was if a Tunguska-sized boulder came in, it would have, according to witnesses, but also scientifically, it should have a giant beard coming off of it of streamers reaching down to the ground,
mm-hmm.
trying to make a connection. And that's why they said when it came in, it looked like a pillar of light. And finally, one of those pillars, one of those beards, made a connection with the ground at some point, and that would have been one heck of a thunderbolt. That's 20 megatons.
No doubt about it. Yep. Nuclear. I hear H-bombs short out the Earth's electrostatic field.
Well, I think that's short out is a strong word.
Yeah, well, that's what Dollard says. They affect it in some way.
Oh, they certainly do.
Yeah. So you could say nuclear weapons are just an ultra-electric kind of a weapon.
They literally are.
Yes.
By what you do is, like, they're basically stealing so many milli-electron volts out of each atom
mm-hmm.
when they do a chain reaction, and that amount, it just that percentage that they're taking out, each electron volt out of that, equals billions and billions and billions and billions of volts that it just shorts and explodes.
Yes, and an X-ray machine contains an anode and a cathode. It must just shoot supercharged particles through you.
It does, literally.
Yep.
In fact, it's just that they're because of their frequency, they manage to go between everything but bones. That's really it. And that's why we need a piece of film to read them.
So gamma rays would be a certain sort of EMF wave then?
Yes, except that usually when you hit a certain point, like anything above light begins to push into stuff that can ionize.
Yeah, and that means glow.
Well, it can knock atoms. It has enough energy to knock knock atoms out of place in your body and knock DNA out of place.
Right.
As it passes through you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what is the scary part of a lot of that.
Yeah, cosmic rays.
Well, luckily we have the Earth's shield. A lot of people were talking about, the Earth's magnetic field is weakening, and I'm like, it's not gonna. Look, even if the Earth's magnetic field overall drops to zero, the currents that power the magnetic field are still there. And the only thing that's happening is that the compass needle is now pointing in another direction soon. But that's the overall field, not the individual fields that make up, say, the jet stream or all the currents in the ocean, or none of those are going to stop.
Right.
So
Right.
we're going to still have lots of electromagnetism around us, and 2 meters of water shielding, which is the atmosphere. So still, I as much as people might be worried so much, don't panic. Computers might have an issue, but I don't think it's going to destroy your power grid or anything.
Now, what about the poles wandering? Is that a concern?
Well, it's wandering because of what I said before. It's a concern if we were a giant spinning magnet, which we're not. We are the overall electric field wandering, or magnetic field wandering, is because of the fact that the southern pole, which right now is the strongest pole, is getting weaker and is becoming linked to the is basically going to get weaker than the northern pole, and it's going to cause all the compasses to flip. But there's a current moving in the North Pole and in the South Pole, and then it goes out along the equator or the ecliptic, and it's connected by a bunch of plasma bridges, we'll call them, or plasma tubes coming up from the ground that connect to these basically to these Van Allen radiation belts, and that is where we store our electric energy for the planet. And also along the surface, of course, but any excess usually gets stored up there. That's why when we get hit with massive EM fluctuations from the sun or blobs of plasma or anything, what tends to happen is that we just get another belt as it processes all these electrons. Electrically speaking, we're just a little load on a circuit. So, and it's going in the poles no matter what. It's going in the North Pole and the South Pole, but because it's going in fast or stronger at the South Pole, that makes, which is our geologic or magnetically speaking, that's our North Pole. I know that sounds strange, but because the South Pole of your magnet points towards it.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I know it sounds a little confusing, but the South Pole is actually in the north.
Yeah, like when we say the north magnetic pole is wandering, that's the southern pole of the magnet.
Yes. They're both wandering, according to.
They are, because they're getting more and more imbalanced, and because this would sound crazy if this was all coming from inside the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We could be using this and going, the poles are wandering. This must mean the wobble of the mantle and the blah and the blah and the blah and the blah. I don't think that at all. I think what's happening is that it's coming from the outside, going in and out along the ecliptic, and the overall strength of one over the other determines the magnetic field. But even if our compass just starts spinning around in circles and it's perfectly at zero, okay, it can't tell where north is anymore.
Mm-hmm.
All of those currents would still be traveling, and all those magnetic fields would still be generated. They would just be canceling each other out on the north and south pole, respectively.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Yes.
But it's still there. It doesn't go anywhere. That's the part that people who don't know this sometimes get confused with, and they get doomsday.
Yes.
I'm like, no. The load on the circuit can't stop.
Right.
Okay, because there's no situation in which, unless the solar wind stops. If the solar wind stops, then yes, our magnetic field will completely stop. Okay, it's quite possible that would occur. But as long as the solar wind comes out, or as long as the sun is still shining, we should have a magnetic field.
Yes. I think I read from Don Scott's website that the solar wind did stop for 3 days once.
The solar wind stopped at a particular. Well, number one, it probably didn't completely stop, but it probably decreased greatly.
Yeah. Yes. Now the sun has been acting up lately. It's just it's kind of in a weird phase, but you couldn't tell it by the days and the heat and all that. It's still the same. It's crazy how the sun operates, you know.
Well, that's because a lot of the people who are basing a lot of their theories on, as much as I might debate the reason for climate change, I'll go with the evidence. The evidence seems to me that we're not causing it. However, that said,
No, I don't think so either. I think it's something with the sun.
that I agree. That said, however,
Yeah.
if you guys want to make things prettier and end pollution, I'm not going to stop you. No, if you're going to make it better for my kids, I really can't argue with that as long as it's not,
Right.
Overly ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, one of the things that comes back when you're talking about that is that all of the planets increase in temperature. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Buicks in Delaware are not affecting the climate of Neptune.
No.
So something else is.
Yeah.
And the reason they say it can't be the sun is because the luminescence of the sun didn't change. That means the brightness of it hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only power they have coming from the sun. That's I think, the problem right there.
Mm. Yeah. Now, as long as the sun is a positive body, is the anode, then it will continue to be the sun, correct?
Well, there's a lot of debate on why something becomes a sun and why something doesn't. I would like to think that it has a lot to do with nuclear reactions, and nuclear reactions tend to the last reaction of material that is not, that you can no longer react anymore, is iron. So basically it goes through all these reactions until it gets to iron and stops.
Yes, but you don't really believe in a nuke core center, do you?
No, but these reactions can still happen on the surface, like it's being cooked.
I see. Yes. Yeah.
And getting an iron shell on it. And the reason
yes.
I'm thinking it's getting an iron shell, one of the things that iron does more than anything else is it actually compresses magnetic fields. Therefore, it pulls more electrons towards it. And it ends up with a giant magnetic field, which the sun has, highly ionized, and giving off an electric field.
So what do you suppose it might be that would first be, the first body to attract it to be a star? Do you think it would be the largest body in the system?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. That's all it is.
Yes.
I would think that if the sun disappeared, then and we didn't blow up.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
So just say the sun disappeared, then I would see all the gas giants would begin glowing like crazy, because they would suddenly be having to deal with the addition of processing all the electrons that the sun used to, because the circuit is still there.
Yeah.
And just because you remove the largest load doesn't mean all the other loads suddenly disappear.
Is there ever a danger that the circuit would disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the sun, the sun is attracting a lot with its magnetic field, and we're stuck to the side of for lack of a better term, we're stuck to the side of a space tornado. Okay. And we might have used to be in the middle of it, closer to, and the sun might have been brighter. I don't know. I don't know any of these, or we could have been orbiting Saturn, and Saturn was closer to it. Who knows? This is too far back for me to judge that. But when we would be seeing the where we are now, we see ourselves right up against the wall of the local chimney, and we are like a little wart on the side of it.
Yeah.
A bump on the tree. And I think that beyond that, there's one attached to the side of that.
Yeah, the sun is
the
a
side of
powerhouse.
us,
Yeah.
which is Proxima Centauri, and it's 4 AU out from us, from this chimney. So it's like we're sitting on certain layers inside this chimney.
Yeah.
And I think that we're sitting on the Birkeland current that's powering the sun. And because of the magnetic field, of course, it pulls in all the electrons in the area. And we drastically underestimate how many electrons are out there. If we only have 1 electron per meter, imagine how many electrons there are in 80 astronomical units.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then times that by, what is it, 2 pi r? No, wait, I had to do it in area. So anyway,
Yeah.
the point is that that's a gigantic volume of electrons, and they would all be moved by this magnetic field that the sun is creating with all this iron that's on it.
How much iron is on it, do you believe?
Well, I think it's entirely encompassing the surface.
The surface, yeah. I was going to say, so it's a solid surface, but you're saying it's probably made of iron.
I would believe so.
And that while it's being the sun, it's generating this iron.
Yeah, it's going through the nuclear reactions as it would in nuclear fusion, and but it's all at the surface, and that's what causes. That's why we have no. When we look at the sun, we're supposed to see neutrinos coming from the center of the sun, but we find none. We never found any, because that's the fault of their theory. Because the reaction is not coming from the center of the sun; it's coming from the surface.
Yes, that's right. That's what I think too. So if the sun were to ever go out, it would be a gigantic iron body just floating in space.
Well, yes, but it would never go out.
No, I wouldn't think so. But as long as it's getting feed.
As long as it's being fed, yeah. And even if it was floating through space away from the galaxy. Okay, I know this sounds totally crazy, but it's quite possible for it to still go into into a glow mode and completely encompass our planets again, like it was back under Saturn.
Yes, I see.
And then we'd have purple skies again.
And it's interesting to see the stars that are in the sun's wake, where the sun's been, other stars are. So that area is obviously still getting juice.
Oh, yes. It looked like, well, yeah, in fact, there looks like there was an explosion sometime in the past. And this was witnessed by man, so much so that it was considered it was known as the whirlpool in the sky, and it was the Pleiades.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it was the if you've ever seen a map, sometimes they have a map where they show the galactic plane, I guess you could say, and they would show you that on the map or something, just to show you like a star map, and then they would have another line that was off by 8 degrees, and that's a whirlpool, and that's in the area of the Pleiades. And so this means that all the stories of the whirlpool through Jason and the Argonauts and all that have to be recollections of some event that they witnessed, because that boat went down through the whirlpool and came out the other side. And we must have saw, and today there's a giant belt of stars around that called the Gourd Belt, which is still expanding. So it's very interesting how we see things in the sky, and they must have been amazing. Could you imagine seeing a giant explosion? And it wouldn't that's only like 200 light years away. Not
What's
even
it called?
the Pleiades.
Yes, Pleiades.
Yeah, Pleiades, Whirlpool, Ancient. I guess would probably be a good search. Um,
You need to share screen, Greg.
Huh?
You need to share screen.
They're close to wrapping this one up, but I'm telling you, man, it's been an hour and a half plus.
oh, I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you.
I would love to have you come back. You know, we can still go for another 10 minutes or so.
Oh well,
It's
I'm
gone
sure
by
we've
so
gone.
fast. It's crazy.
Well, that's what happens when you're get talking, I guess.
Andy, do you have any questions for Neil? We've been looking forward to this for a long.
Yeah, we have. We have. And it's good to hear you again, Neil. I used to listen to you. Gee, it'd be a few years. Time flies. It'd be a few years ago now when you used to have that. What was it? You'd be on YouTube, Electric Universe, something like that.
The Electric View, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I used to often listen to you on that of the morning. And the same, you'd go 4 hours sometimes. No worries at all.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said I was on it once and I loved it. But go ahead.
No, it is well, like I was telling him that it's clearly I'm just trying to get back in the swing of things after going through some tough times myself, but due to my injury. But you know, this is how you get back in the saddle, and it was really good to have a friendly face up there, someone who's going to throw me the softball questions. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Well,
definitely an ally.
it's not only that, is it, Greg? It's more. It's not like you're saying anything that's really offensive to anybody. In
Yeah.
some ways, different view to what they've ever heard
Oh
or
yeah.
listened to. You put it in the mix of all the things in life, and out of it, you get bits. You go, yeah, I reckon that's pretty right. That,
Yeah.
you know,
My
that's
people are going to love this. But I didn't really think about the questions. I just found it a very interesting conversation. When it's over, I'm going to think about 500 more that I should have asked, which is why we got to have you back again, Neil. It was a blast. It was fantastic.
I very much loved it.
I would.
like we hear from Shockwave a fair bit, don't we, Greg? And
Right.
We hear from Shockwave a fair bit.
Yep. Yep. And trying to get him. He's doing good. Yeah. We had a show with him not too long ago. Yeah.
Well,
it was an impromptu one too, Neil.
But he always speaks highly of you.
Yeah, because he's the one who's often said that you hadn't been well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully the corner's turned and you can get back.
Yes.
That would be ideal.
Yes. I'm all for it, man. Do whatever you need, but I'd love having you on the show again. Can we do this again?
Well, I wouldn't see a problem not doing it. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Because first, you're a new face, and second, people know you, and you're full of that knowledge that I love. So it was a fantastic time, man. I really had a great time.
Well, I'm going to just...
Can we pick up from where we left off next time, Pleiades?
Well, I was going to say here, because I'll...
because
I'll actually show you something.
Okay. Yes, let's finish up.
No. I mean, right. I mean, I had a opportunity to just grab this photograph.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah, I'll put it.
I'm gonna put it right into
chat
to you. Yeah, right in the tab here. If I can learn how to link.
Yeah. Send me as many pics as you want if you want them in the show.
Oh, I just grabbed this one because I saw it because I wanted to show you the. If you see where the Pleiades is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, I didn't upload it. There we go.
Yes.
Right. So that right there is where the Pleiades is. So see that blue line? That blue line's the ecliptic, where the Milky Way is. So you see where Orion is right down there.
Mm-hmm.
The Pleiades is right there, and if you notice, they tried to do it some justice where it's straight on. But if you notice that if that disk was straight on, it would be about 8 degrees away from that blue line. See?
Mm-hmm. I see.
And that's the whirlpool right there, and it's always on maps. And in fact, according to this wonderful little thing that I looked up of Messier objects, that it was the let's see, Babylonian astronomers knew the Pleiades as Momol, the star of stars.
Mm-hmm.
Aztecs based their calendar on the Pleiades, with the cluster's helical rising marking the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to give you an idea that they it was an important thing, and we still, but like I've said about religion, in well-meaning they're trying to warn us about something they can't remember in a lot of ways, and it's the same thing here. All these cultures are saying, "Hey, the Pleiades, something really big happened there," and we're all going, "Ha, myth."
Yeah. Do you think the sun was ever part of the Pleiades?
No, but I don't know that for sure, only because I don't know.
They are G-class stars, are they not? Most of them.
I think they are, yeah.
Yeah. Main sequence.
But it's just something very interesting, that how important they were to other people, and we still marked it on maps, that type of thing.
Yeah, the Seven Sisters. Yeah, they do rank very high in ancient lore. Yeah, I've read a lot about them.
Oh,
and you'd also think that our sun, Greg and Neil, you'd also think that our sun would have a mate somewhere. You know, usually on the electric, it's a pair, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's theories about that. You know, Degrassia's got Solaria Benaria, that its twin turned into the planets. And then you've got Velikovsky's Saturn theory, and then you've got oh man, there's all kinds of them. You know, that happened. Like someone's trying to say that one star, what's the name of it? Sirius, is the sun's twin, because it goes away and then comes back. You know,
Sirius is actually something very unique.
Yes, it is.
Sirius is along the chain with us.
Yeah. Yes.
In fact, it's the only star that doesn't rotate.
It doesn't rotate.
It stays with us as if we were both attached to the same cord.
Yes, we have something going on with them. I know that. I don't know.
Yeah, they're down the pipe from us, so to speak. If it was the Birkeland current, or the local chimney, as they call it, then down below, Sirius is right in the center of that thing, and it's getting the full brightness. That's why it's one of the brightest stars in the sky.
Now, is there ever a time when Sirius might come so close to the sun, meaning the Earth, that it would cause cataclysms?
No, it's too far away. It doesn't orbit us.
It could never have influence in our system then.
No, in fact, it's stable because it stays the same distance from us
at all times.
It travels along with us along this cord. It's going the same speed as we are. So all the other stars move in reference, except for Sirius. Sirius always stays with us. Yeah. And so do the Pleiades. Isn't that interesting? See, because we're all part of the same little group, and they're all attached to this thin, wispy pipe that it would look like a vein if you could make it go faster and speed it up.
Is Betelgeuse part of the circuit?
No, I don't know where Betelgeuse is actually. I do know that Betelgeuse is going through a phase change right now.
Yeah.
But that's why they think it's shrinking, and I'm like, oh, guys, really?
Yeah, I know. They think it's going to blow up because it was a red giant, and it's going to be a white dwarf and that whole thing. But that's just the circuit. It's just a red giant.
Yeah, and the cool thing is that we might find a whole whack of planets in there.
Yes.
When it comes out, and if depending on how long it's been like that, those bodies could be the perfect breeding ground for life.
The cradle of life. Yeah, that's what Wall calls them.
And he's not lying. I think that
Right on.
I think he's got that nailed down,
I
because
do too.
the amount of water that would be generated just by the hydrogen interacting with the oxygen alone.
Hmm. It would be a paradise, just like Earth once was.
Well, paradise for people who like it wet and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but even the whatever they got in the so-called golden age, we'll call it I think I hate to say it, but that whole idea of giants always hits me a little hard, especially when you realize that um, the last giant cow
mhm.
was eaten in 1590.
Once existed. I do.
Well, if they did, it just because we're kind of stupid, unless we have animosity towards these things, we always think bigger is better. So bigger people are better. It sounds crazy, but I'm sure that
Well,
they
we
would
have
do
a bigger
that.
brain.
Well, yeah, but it didn't make them any smarter. They had to eat like crazy.
I don't know.
But
Some geniuses existed sometime on Earth to build pyramids and things we still can't do today.
oh, I think that we could build the pyramids. I'm more concerned about what came before that. Like
Yeah.
some of those beautiful stonework that they found underneath that one pyramid with all the vases and the thin. I mean, showing lathe work that was light year. We couldn't do it today. Couldn't do it today. Beautiful stuff. It makes you question the whole anything with that command of the stone. It seems like they could before, and then suddenly just one day it was all over.
All over. Yeah. Neil, it's been awesome. I got a live stream that I got to get ready for, and this one's going to go in the books, and we're going to have to get together again.
Oh, we should. It was fantastic.
It was.
There were so many things that were discussed that you can re-listen to,
Mhm.
and then put them in, and then break them down and discuss the individuals of it. You
Yeah.
go back to art, creation, you talk about what we were just talking about, Birkeland currents.
Mhm.
Each one of them's a subject on its own, isn't it?
Mhm.
It is, and you bring a little bit of. Sometimes you have to go with the knowledge of the people that you're with, and
Yes.
I guess anyone who knows Grave J knows what a Birkeland current is
They better.
at this point.
We talk about it quite a lot here. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the Electric Universe. I mean, the Thunderbolts group. I discovered them in 2014, and I was inspired so much that I started my own channel and started doing. Before that, I was just wasting time.
Well, it gives you something worth doing, and
Oh yes, definitely.
I hope that some of the things we had to talk about end up in the like I basically have to put together a nice little presentation for the Detroit thing. Should I be able to go?
Oh, I hope you do, because I'm going to be there.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It should be. I mean, like I said, I
haven't been officially invited yet. But.
With my back, I don't know, but at the same time, I'm like, well, as long as I can, certain things can be achieved. I think I can pull it off. It's only for a weekend, right? So
Right.
It's not exactly like if you can deal with the fact that every time I wear myself out, I'm just going to go, instead of partying tonight, guys, I'm going to go to bed. Okay, but besides that,
Yeah.
I'll try to party.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, it's been great, and I hope to talk to you again.
Oh, you will, dude. We're going to have to hook up. I'd like to do this again, and soon.
Excellent. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll let you go then, and
Okay.
thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you. We'll see you again, Tim. Take care, man.